tailored panel. So, firstly, I would like to introduce you to Claude Amar, sir. Claude Amar, a managing partner at Mediation and Resolution France, has been a mediator since 2002. He has intervened in more than 1,000 complex, long-standing, or multi-party disputes, both French and international. His professional experience is generating creative solutions that are out of the box and has been recognized in France by Who's Who Legal as a global elite and thought leader for mediation. He studied mediation with Gary Friedman at the Center for Mediation and Law in San Francisco and attended the program on negotiation at Harvard Law School. He is a certified mediator by the IMI, the SIMI, and the IFCM. He is accredited by numerous courts of appeal and institutions such as the ICC France, the HKMC, the SIMC, the JIMC, and the CMCC. He is president of the Academy of Mediation and president of the IFCM, along with being a member of IMI Standards Commission, a member of the Board of Governors, and a distinguished fellow of the IAM. We welcome you, sir. Now, I would also like to introduce another of our stellar panelists, Mr. Sanjeev Ahuja, sir. Sanjeev Ahuja, sir, is the president of Missing Bridge, a center for conflict management based in New Delhi. Under his leadership, the center focuses on promoting mediation and effective conflict resolution through research, training, and capacity building. It promotes the process of finding peaceful solutions by nurturing constructive dialogues through application of non-adversarial methods of dispute resolution. Their focus is on assisting in the domain of dispute resolution through mediation and negotiation, with an emphasis on effective communication and dialogue, specializing in handling stalemate solutions. Missing Bridge works to equip individuals and organizations with the skills to navigate disputes constructively, fostering a culture of dialogue and cooperation. We welcome you, sir. I would also like to introduce Kathleen Ruane-Leedy, the third of our panelists. Kathleen ma'am is a distinguished bi-coastal mediator with a 17-year track record of excellence, having successfully resolved over 1,000 court and private practice cases with a settlement rate exceeding 95%. She specializes in high conflict mediations while maintaining expertise across a broad spectrum of cases, including small claims, divorce proceedings, business disputes and workplace conflicts, litigation, and family matters. As a former courts and training coordinator at Family Services of Central Massachusetts, Kathleen ma'am has demonstrated exceptional leadership in overseeing 5 area courts, developing innovative programs, and advancing mediator training initiatives. Her credentials included serving as an approved open meetings mediator for the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. Her commitment to advancing the field of mediation extends to various prestigious institutions like Harvard University, PON class, and MIT graduate students in the negotiation and conflict management program. We welcome you, ma'am.
Next up, we have Prachi Mehta ma'am. Prachi ma'am is a renowned mediator certified by Harvard University and the Supreme Court of India's Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee. With over 19 plus years of experience, she has mediated complex disputes in India and the US. Her expertise spans from family settlements, corporate disputes, and multi-party conflicts with a focus of cross-culture dynamics and high emotional content. Prachi ma'am is the founding partner of TAG, the ADR Group, a boutique firm integrating mediation and clinical psychology, finance, and technical expertise to give each dispute a uniquely designed resolution mechanism. She also works as a mediator on the panel of the Supreme Court Mediation Center in India and is a resource person to IICA to train mediators under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Next up, we have Rukmani Menon. Rukmani ma'am is an IMI accredited mediator and a panelist in the Bangalore Mediation Center since 2015. Rukmani ma'am has mediated over almost 700 cases, including disputes relating to finance, real estate, educational institutions, and hospitals at the mediation desk at the District Consumer Court and Appellate Court since 2018. Further, her expertise has also led her to privately mediate a number of commercial and workplace disputes since 2019. Her excellence in mediation paved her way as a mediator panelist for the National Company Law Tribunal, member of the Specialist Mediator Panel of CIMC, and her designation as a mediator on the Global Panel of Mediators at UNDP. Being a trainer herself, Rukmani ma'am has also conducted mediation workshops at various law schools from time to time and has been a judge for a number of mediation competitions. We welcome all of you. Thank you so much for being here. We are extremely grateful for you, and I'm very sure all the participants will learn a lot today. Zenat, not taking any time further, can we please begin with the rounds? If all the assessors are okay with it?
Yes, and we'd also congratulate you for being here. Welcome, welcome, and we're very excited to be assessing this round. It'll be
and all the best to all the participants.
Very proud to be with you today.
Delighted to be here. Good luck to everyone.
All the best. Let's get started. Yeah.
Greetings of the day. I'm Zeenat, and it is my honor to welcome you all to the second edition of Calcutta University International Mediation Competition 2025. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly walk you through the session structure. The total duration of the session is 90 minutes, which includes a 7.5-minute caucus for each party. Following the round, we will have a 10 minutes dedicated to assessors' feedback. I will start the Zoom timer for 90 minutes, which you will see displayed in the top right corner of your screen. Are there any questions? If not, we can proceed with the assessor's permission. Thank you.
Yes, let's please carry on. We're very excited to listen. Here we go. Are we ready to begin?
Zenat, have you started the timer? Yes, we can begin.
Okay. Good luck, everyone.
A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone in with respect to whichever time zones you are. So before beginning, I would just like to ask the parties if they have a very stable internet connection for us to have a smoother mediation process. Please give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much, party. Also, since it's quite a long session, it's a 90-minute session, I sincerely urge every party and my co-mediator to please keep a glass of water or a bottle of water handy, for that matter, to quench our thirst. To begin with, my name is Nathan, and I am a certified mediator having 10 plus years of experience in handling mediations. Now, I would like my co-mediator to introduce herself.
Thank you, Nathan. Hello, everyone. I am Uzma Khan. Feel free to call me Uzma. I'm an accredited mediator with over 10 years of experience, and today I'll be co-mediating this session alongside Nathan. Over to you, Nathan.
Thank you so much, Uzma. So at the outset, I would just first likely to thank the parties for taking their time off a Sunday from their extremely busy schedule. Today marks a very significant step forward in our collective pursuit of resolution, and I'm very hopeful that by the end of this process, we'll have forged a path towards understanding. So, just for the sake of clarity and to begin with, I would request the parties to introduce themselves with their names, the roles they are in, and for checking of the authority, an additional question to the clients as to whether they have the requisite authority to settle the dispute at hand. I request the requesting party to please introduce themselves.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Jonathan, and I'm the leader of the Damti tribe. I would just like to confirm that I have the full authority to settle. Together with me today is my trusted counsel.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to come down. I am Shruti, counsel for the Damti tribe.
I request the responding party to please introduce themselves.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you may be currently. I am Sasha and I am the Senior Executive at Green Energy, and I do have the requisite authority to settle this dispute at hand.
Hello, I'm the counsel. My name is Natalie. I'm the representative of the Green Energy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Thank you so much, parties, for that introduction. So to begin with, I would just first like you to ask the parties if it is your first mediation session or have you attended any session before?
This is my first time at
This is
mediation.
our first time as well.
Okay, that is great to know. So since we are starting afresh, I assume that your counsels would have already briefed you regarding how a mediation session works. But as professional mediators, I and Uzma still have a duty to explain you about mediation and the session in general. So I'll take you through the features of mediation and the role of us mediators, and my co-mediator Uzma would be dealing with the process of mediation and the ground rules which we'll have to follow. So to begin with, the most important and key feature of mediation is confidentiality. So at the outset, I would just like to assure both the parties that anything and everything which you say in the course of this session or discuss will remain extremely confidential and will remain within the four walls of this virtual room. Secondly, that whatever said and done in the course of the session cannot be used for or against any party in a court of law. So please be free and rest assured to share as much as we can for a collaborative dialogue here. And lastly, that the whole mediation process is based on the principle of party autonomy. That is, you both parties have agreed here to come voluntarily, and you are free to leave this session if you feel that your interests are not served or satisfied. Now, coming to our role as mediators today, parties, I would like to tell you that our role will here today only facilitate this session, and we would be in no way judging this session. Also, at all times, we will remain neutral and give equal opportunities to both the parties. To further the role, I would just like to draw an analogy here to describe the role of mediators. Consider us as a traffic police officer at a very busy intersection. Just like a traffic officer manages everything, a mediator here will ensure that conversations flow smoothly, will prevent the collisions of any conflicting opinion, and we will guide the parties in the right direction without taking any sides. So I hope that makes the role very clearer. And before passing on the baton to my co-mediator, there's just something from my side. Since mediation is a client-driven process, the resolution today must come from you, the parties, and not us, the mediators. And as the saying goes, two heads working together are always better than one. But in this, I can see four heads, so it's even better in that way. So with that spirit, I would like to pass on the baton to my co-mediator Uzma to give her opening statement and explain the remaining process. Over to you, Uzma.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you for beautifully explaining our role today here as mediators and also the principles, the pillars on which mediation is built. I will be running you through the process of mediation and a few housekeeping rules that Nathan and I have in place just to ensure that the mediation runs smoothly and we get the best possible use out of the mediation today. So please bear with me for a few minutes. As for the process of mediation, so after Nathan and I, after we conclude our opening statement, we will be inviting the parties to tell us what brought them to this mediation table today. What we want to hear your side of the story, where you're coming from, what matters you want to discuss, your issues, your concerns, your interests coming into this negotiation. So all of that you can lay out in your opening statements. Both parties will be getting an equal opportunity to make their opening statements and basically tell us their side of the story. So based on the interest that each party puts forward in their opening statement, we will be setting what is called an agenda. So to briefly tell you what an agenda is, an agenda is basically a point of reference. It's like a flexible framework that we can use to help us navigate the session. So we can use the interests of both parties. There may be common interests as well, so that's going to make it so much easier for us because there can be mutual interests. So we'll be listing these interests and in a particular order, in an agreed upon order, the order that the parties wish to proceed when it comes to negotiation. We can conduct the negotiation. But please know that there is no preference, no priority when it comes to any interest on the agenda. It is simply us listing down the interest in a certain order that we feel would be convenient for us to pursue the session. There's also an option to call for a private session. So the parties can call for a private session, or if not, if Nathan or I feel the need to have a private session with a certain party, we might call for a private session as well. And this session is called a caucus. And each party will be getting, again, an equal opportunity to call for a caucus, and a caucus will run for 7.5 minutes. Unfortunately, in today's session, we do not have cross caucuses where either the clients or counsels of both parties will be having a caucus with the mediator. But I'd like to assure you that the caucus, again, comes with an added layer of confidentiality. Now, Nathan told you that the mediation session today is strictly confidential. A caucus is essentially a session within the mediation session. So it comes with that added layer of confidentiality. And nothing that you divulge or disclose to us, the mediators in the caucus, will be disclosed in the joint session unless you explicitly give us permission to do so. So I'd like to invite the parties, if they need a caucus, to please ask for a caucus and use it as a platform and make use of the opportunity to openly discuss whatever they wish to discuss with us, the mediators. Because as you can see, it is us versus the problem. It is not us against each other. And I really congratulate the parties for coming into this mediation in that framework of mind and coming to work towards resolving this dispute amicably. Additionally, Nathan and I will also be summarizing from time to time when there's a lot of information on the table, and the parties also have the option of requesting a summary. So how a summary can help the session is when there's a lot of information on the table, there may be confusions, there may be miscommunications. By summarizing what's been said, that will actually help everyone stay on the same page and give us all a common understanding upon which we can pursue the session. Please note that Nathan and I will also be playing devil's advocate. From time to time, we will be asking clarifying questions from each party. And in the event any party feels that questions that we pose seem biased or prejudicial, please feel free, please know that that is definitely not our intention. And if at any point you feel that any question that we ask or anything that we say is either us being biased or prejudicial, feel free to let us know, because it is very important for myself and Nathan as the mediators to make you feel like you're in safe hands. And it's very important for us that you have faith and you trust the process. As for the housekeeping rules, we have a few housekeeping rules. Firstly, we understand that the parties, we are all from different cultural backgrounds, we're from diverse backgrounds. While we appreciate and acknowledge this very much, I urge the parties to maintain cultural sensitivity and respect each other's, respect the diverse backgrounds we are from. And this may be something along the lines of, sometimes something that I say may not be clear to you, you might not understand, or my rate of speech might not be very understandable. So if there's anything that I say that is unclear to you, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to clarify myself immediately. And I urge I urge the parties also to maintain the same level of cultural sensitivity. And I also urge the parties to please maintain a very respectful and polite environment, give each other an attentive ear so that we can make the most out of this session. With that being said, may I ask the parties if they have any questions on what's being said so far? If all's good, if you can give me a thumbs up, that would do.
Hi, Uzma. Thanks so much for setting out these rules. Can we also just add one more rule that everyone speak at a slow, steady pace, because We are all from different cultures, like you mentioned, and also to account for any lags in the Zoom interface.
Of course, Shruti. Thank you so much for suggesting that, and I think everyone's agreeable to that. That's a wonderful suggestion. Thank you so much for that.
Uzma, for the very detailed explanation of the rules. It makes me very reassured about the mediation process and that we are in your good hands, especially, as what Nathan said, both of you are our traffic cops for today. I would also like to thank Tashir and Natalie for coming to this mediation today to have a dialogue and a chance to work out a solution together. As the mediators have said, 4 heads are better than 1, and I really do hope that we will be able to come to a solution today. As every coin has 2 sides, I would like to take this opportunity to explain matters from my perspective and also introduce a little bit about myself. Tashir, I think you would agree with me that for the both of us, you as the CEO of a company that is a leader in renewable energy, and me, the leader of the Damti tribe, we view environmental protection as something of utmost importance. For the Damti tribe, we view protecting the environment as true sustainability. Protecting the environment to us means preserving the Ranada forest, especially the part of the forest that the Damti tribe resides in. For the tribe, the forest, the animals, the plants go beyond just physical objects. They represent our way of life, our tradition, and our soul. They form an essential part of our very being. And this is why we come to the table extremely concerned and distressed when we learned about Green Grow's deforestation plans and how initial phases of land clearing had destroyed significant cultural areas of our land. What I want to emphasize when we come to the mediation table today is that we hold the view that we are not anti-development, but rather it is about development with us and not over us. With that being said, I have 2 objectives coming to mediation today. Firstly, to understand the circumstances surrounding the deforestation and the construction of the solar panel manufacturing facility that Green Grow Energy is undertaking. And secondly, to come up with a plan to ensure that we can resolve this issue. Since we are in mediation, I really do hope that we are able to set aside our differences today and come together during the negotiation to find common ground. In the spirit of mediation, you can be assured that Shruti and I will be forthcoming to you, and we really do hope that you can also be forthcoming with us in an interest-based mediation where we both move away from our original positions. With that being said, I'll let my trusted counsel, Shruti, to say a couple of words.
Thanks, John, and thank you everyone for taking the time to come down to this mediation. Now, as I introduced, I'm Shruti, and I'm here in an advisory capacity to assist John in any technical issues that may arise in respect of the discussion today surrounding Indigenous rights, environmental law, and land use arrangements. But rest assured that any decision made will be John's alone on behalf of the tribe leaders. Now, despite the unfortunate circumstances that have led to us being here today, we do believe in the significance of mediation and its thorough capacity of turning adversity into opportunity. I do hope that both parties today can make the best use of the opportunity presented to have a constructive discussion and to explore solutions together. I hope that parties are candid, communicative, and collaborative to eventually come to a mutually beneficial agreement. Now, while we are here amidst legal disputes on land and resource use, I have advised John to come to the table today putting aside strictly legal arguments. Ultimately, as John has pointed out as well, Our priority is to come to an understanding on development that serves the interests of the indigenous people, the Ranada forest, and is truly environmentally sustainable. With that being said, the brief agenda that I have for us today, and I hope the mediators can help us take this down, is firstly, to understand the circumstances surrounding the initial forest clearance, and secondly, to discuss ways to move forward in an ethical and responsible manner. With that, we end our opening statements. We pass the time back to the mediators to summarize and pass the ball over to the responding party.
Thank you so much, Jonathan and Shruti, for providing your side of the perspectives and as to why you are here. So, just to quickly and briefly summarize what you said in your opening statements. So, I understand that environment protection is most important and crucial for you, but at the same time, you are not against development. What you want is that you want the development to be with you and not over you. With this, you are also very much concerned about the recent land issue and the forest clearance issue. So and also with regards to the future collaboration as to how this thing can work out well. And with this, you have brought on table two prominent agendas. First one regarding to understand the circumstances of the forest clearance or the deforestation for that matter, and with respect to the solar construction project. And the second one being the plan to resolve this issue in an ethical and sustainable manner. If I have missed anything, Uzma, would you like to add?
No, I think Nathan, you perfectly covered. But can we check with Shruti and Jonathan if the interests were properly outlined by us?
Yes, that summary was good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan and Shruti. Now I request the responding party to please begin with their opening statement.
Firstly, good afternoon again. And before I begin, thank you to the mediators for providing a very clear overview of what today's process is going to look like, and to John for addressing the relevant concerns and clearly identifying that there are two sides of a coin, and very well putting across what your side is for us to understand what exactly where you're coming from, your perspective and your concerns regarding this dispute. So with no further ado, let me start by introducing myself again. My name is Tasha and I'm the Senior Executive at Greenglow Energy. Me and my council truly appreciate Damti Tribe's willingness to mediate today and share the goal of trying to find a sustainable solution that works for all parties. We're here today because we also recognize the concerns that Damti Tribe has put across, and we do want to find a fair solution. While our solar project does aim to advance clear energy and create jobs, we understand that there has been an impact on your land and heritage, and it has endured suffering in the process. And we sincerely regret the distress that has been caused, and we are committed to finding a solution that respects not just the tribe's land, but also the sentiments and the environment as a whole. Overall, my council and I see collaborative methods to resolve this issue and ensure that if any violations has occurred on our end, it is resolved. We are here in the spirit of good faith to verify certain issues while also ensuring that our intentions are made clear for the purposes of our company's project, as John, the leader of the Damti tribe, clearly outlined. And before, without wasting any time, I will hand over to my council to set an agenda based on what me and my council believed were the key issues that we needed to discuss, whilst keeping in mind the best interests of the Damti tribe.
Thank you, Tasha. Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm the council and representative of Greenglow Energy. I'm happy to hear that the requesting party are here to seek collaborative solutions, given these are the solutions we believe will be the way to provide an adequate and fair and safe environment, not only for the environment itself, but also to protect the Damti tribe's land and heritage and culture. Overall, without further ado, these are the key issues that my client and I believe we should be discussed during the mediation. And of course, the mediators and the requesting party can amend it in any sort of way. We believe that firstly, we need to verify of the tribe's rights towards the land, which land belongs to the tribe and which land is the green growth energy. Throughout that, we are seeking that maybe a discussion should come up for an alternative solution which provides a balance between the safety of the environment, but also protecting the tribe's land. Second of all, we want to discuss about the validity of the Green Growth Energies project. That is a key issue for us and an important one. Thirdly, we want to address any legal violations that has been alleged by the tribe and seek any clarifications from both sides. Lastly, we want to address if there will be when there is a collaborative solution and when everything is settled down, we want to seek a joint public statement given that this has become a public issue, and we want to make sure that nothing out there has distorted the truth narrative. We believe these are my client and I believe these are the key issues that should be addressed, at least during the mediation. And of course, if the requesting party and the mediators believe something more has to be addressed, we're here to hear any of the concerns and clarifications. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tasha and Natalie. If I may summarize what you just mentioned. So Tasha, you talked about the renewable energy project that your company is undertaking, and you also acknowledge the impact it had on the land and heritage of the Damti tribe. You said you sincerely regretted the distress it has caused them and that you were committed to finding a solution. And Natalie, you put forward the interests of Green Grow Energy. They are fourfold. Firstly, you said you wanted to verify the tribe's rights towards land ownership, which lands belong to the Damti tribe and which lands belong to Green Grow Energy, which lands have been allocated for them. Secondly, to discuss the validity of Green Grow's energy project. Thirdly, to address any legal violations that have been alleged by the tribe against the project. And fourthly, after everything has been settled in a collaborative manner, that you wish to put out a joint statement. Did I get you right, Natalie and Tasha? Is there anything I missed?
There is a sub-issue in the first issue with the verification that we are adequately to discuss alternative solutions that balance both the interest of the tribe and the environment. But other than that, everything is correct.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Natalie. So that is duly noted. And thank you to the parties for putting forward your interests. So Nathan, I think we can move on to setting the agenda for today.
Yes, Uzma. So from what I gather and what I believe is that we have today 3 prominent agendas. The parties can always add or modify, and Uzma also if you want to add anything. So from what I believe is the first thing which we can discuss about is the issue of the forest clearance, which would include the sub points being that verification regarding rights, which land belongs to the tribes and which land belongs to Green Grow Energy. The second point for today can be regarding the validity of the Green Growth project, which would include a sub-agenda of the alleged legal violations as well. We can discuss that together if the parties are fine with it. And the last agenda for today can be the collaborative solutions, which would include the issue of joint public statements and also the alternative solutions, if any. So are both the parties fine with it, and or would they want to add on?
I think that sounds okay for us. And since these are general, broader agenda points, we can keep in mind the sub points that Green Growth has mentioned as well. And our mediators can help us keep track of our discussion to make sure that we do discuss these points. But this sounds good for us for now.
It sounds very good for us as well. Thank you very much.
Uzma, would you like to add on to it?
No, if the parties are agreeable to it, I think that is great. Thank you for articulating your interests well. Yes, Nathan. So I think we can move on to the first agenda point in that case. First agenda
also,
topic.
Uzma, could you just write the agendas in the chat box so that it's convenient for the parties to refer to it and us as well?
Yes, sure, Nathan. I'll do that.
Thank you so much, parties.
While the mediators are putting the agenda on the chat box, I think we have spent about half an hour on introductions already. I'd just like to keep the ball rolling. First of all, I'd like to ask Green Grow a question that seems quite simple, but I think also complex at the same time, which is that the area of the Verdana country is so large, and the Ranada forest is also quite big. And why specifically did you decide to commence your construction operations that has been demarcated to be? What went into the decision making, and did Green Grow not know that this land has been demarcated to be Damti tribes?
Thank you for your questions. I would like to address it as much as I can with as much details I have in front of me. If I can't provide any details because they may be confidential or because I don't have that information with me at the moment, but I would like to, if I can't address this in the fullest, I will be happy to address it in future mediation sessions. So please bear with me. But what I can say, the reason we decided the rundown forest wasn't specifically, it was mostly of its large area, as you stated, given that the infrastructure of this project was to provide opportunities of employment for 5,000 jobs and to contribute to sustainable development. And to be able to provide this kind of opportunity, we needed, at least the Green Grow Energy needed a large area to be able to do this. This wasn't done in a malicious sense. It wasn't done to, to create harm towards anyone. It was just during the process that we acknowledge, the Green Grow's Energy acknowledge. Given that the country has committed under the Paris Climate Agreement, there was a lot of discussions with the government as well, which unfortunately I cannot disclose. But what I can say is that during those discussions, this was the decisions made. There wasn't a sinister pinpoint to say the reason of this is because we just like this land over the other one. It just happened to be the largest land that could contribute to us. And I'll refer to my client to further answer those questions.
Just in regard to the management point that John brought up, just to acknowledge that, I'd like to say that this was a genuine mistake on our end. We get that we are a big company, and then we get that such mistakes are not expected from us. But in the process of a business and a project at the scale of such as this, I think that a mistake did happen from our team, from our management team, and then we do regret and we do acknowledge that mistake, and we are ready to fix it, and we're ready to make amends to sort of make sure that the interest of the tribe is satisfied, because under law we do not wish in any sort of way to be under any legal violation, but also keeping in mind the sentiments that is attached to the land and the forest. It is just that it was a genuine mistake made on our end, and that we failed to recognize the land, the difference in the land, which is why me and my counsel decided to just clarify this question. If it's okay with you, the verification process that we wanted to initiate had to deal with the fact of what part of the land belongs to the tribe and what part of the land was actually allocated to us, because we know that some part of the land was cleared up in the deforestation process, but we don't know how much, and we don't know whether that specific part of the land was actually part of the Damti tribe or not, which is why we wanted to initiate this verification process. The details and the specifics of it, I'll just hand over to my counsel to explain it to you so you better understand what we're trying to say.
Thank you. If you have any more clarifications for the answers we provided before, we're happy to discuss. But with the verification process to reinstate why and everything, unfortunately, we cannot change the past and the mistake has happened. But with the verification process, we wanted to appoint a third party with the Damti tribe, someone who is aware of their land, and someone from our company to be able to verify the process and draw out the land, make like a map, essentially. And we will give back the land to the tribe that belongs to the tribe, and we will restrict it. We will provide fences or anything that the tribe feels is the safest way to protect their land, and we are willing to restore to the trees or any monetary sum or non-monetary ways that the tribe believes is an adequate solution to this matter. So I'll refer back to the requesting party to tell us if that's a great solution or they want to amend it in a different way.
Thanks, Dasha and Natalie for really giving us an explanation, a genuine, frank, honest explanation of what happened on your side of things. Now, before we jump into solutions and generating options and looking forward, I think it is quite important for us to understand the events as they happened and both parties' perspective. So what we do hear from you is that there was a mistake. What we understand is that this mistake led to the clearance of land. Now, while you do say that you're unclear about the demarcation of the land, what falls within the indigenous population's area and what falls within what was permitted to you, I think what is important for us to understand is how you carried out your measures before clearing out this piece of land. So for example, before clearing forests, there are certain procedures that have to be taken out, right? There have to be environmental impact assessments. It has to be clear what the impacts, the ecological ramifications of such clearance are. You did mention, and we did hear from you, that sustainable development is important. But what is important in sustainable development is also to ensure that there is no ecological harm. So our concern, in essence, is whether there have been any reviews, independent environmental impact assessments based on either internationally acclaimed standards or otherwise before such clearance was done, because we need to understand the processes that are taken by your company before we can talk about future review boards, because that's just adding layers of bureaucracy when we don't even know internal processes of your company. Yeah, so if we could get more clarification.
We do understand your concern and we do agree. We just wanted to come across that we acknowledge any of your concerns. But of course, with our process, the first thing we did is to get from the forest clearance certification a permission of the 1,500 acres. That's the first thing we did. After we received the approval, of course, we discussed with the management team, and then we started to clear the land. The reason we had to clear up the land is to be able to, build the solar panels, because there is no other way to build the solar panels without having a clear land. We do understand from the some environmental expertise and protesters that there has been concerns that this is actually harming the environment. But from our perspective, the discussion was with the ecological and people and the management team was that the long-term benefits of doing this would help a lot of people. Given with the solar panels, we would use the natural energy resources, and we would decrease carbon dioxide. And given that there was approval by the FCC. We essentially believe that this was like a permission to do this. Now, we do understand there have been some allegations from the tribe, which we can discuss later on, which of course we're happy to discuss and see where the technicalities have happened and maybe where the misunderstanding has happened legally, but also between the two, the company and the tribe. But overall, that was the process. There wasn't very much a lot. We tried to have a discussion. From our perspective, it wasn't the short term, but the long term implication towards the environment. And we believe providing, opportunities for employment opportunities for people, while also providing long-term environmental benefits to the community was prevailed over the short-term environmental harm that could have happened. Of course, that wasn't in a malicious way to go with the tribe as well. But I hope this answers your questions.
If I may seek a clarification, Natalie. So, Shruti, I heard you say you wanted to know what procedure was followed before the deforestation occurred, right? And Shruti, I heard you say you wanted to hear from Natalie and Tasha whether there were any environmental impact assessments or any independent reviews that were done by internationally acclaimed organizations. And Natalie, I heard you talk about the forest clearance certificate. If I'm not mistaken, Natalie, I believe the forest clearance certificate was issued by the government. Correct me if I'm wrong. Shruti, Natalie, if you can help us understand, if aside from the forest clearance certificate that was issued by the government, any other independent reviews or assessments were they carried out as part of the procedure before the deforestation occurred?
Just jump in and try to clear out any sort of questions and any sort of doubts that we have regarding the scenario. So the way our company approached it was we first went up with a pitch. We said this is our project, and the government were very happy with it because it was in line with the Paris Convention, what the Paris Climate Act, like what they wanted. So I think that way it was quite obvious that we got the approval and everything proceeded very smoothly. But like I said, there was a slight mistake from the management side in terms of like what land was the tribes and what land was ours and which one we were allowed to clear out. So we do agree that was and we do acknowledge that was a mistake on our end. But apart from that, I think with the approval of the government, it was a go signal, and then we just like went ahead and started on the project because there's a certain timeline set on the project that we need to meet. It's not just about the company and like the profits or the money included, but it's about the government's trust in us, as well as the long-term benefits that comes with this project. So I think meeting the timelines and making sure things progressed very smoothly was extremely important for us. So we just went ahead with the government's approval and just started the project. But we do understand that in the process, there has been some sort of damage that has happened. We're ready to discuss and acknowledge and resolve the issues and any mistakes that has happened on our end. So I think hopefully that does give you a clear idea and clears up whatever sort of doubts that you had regarding the process.
I'm just sorry to interrupt here for a moment. So from what I can see is, Shruti, you had asked a clarification question regarding the process. So I hope Natalie and Tarshia have answered the question of process very smoothly by saying that first they got the forest clearance certificate, and subsequently with the management discussions and considering the timeline, they moved ahead with the project. So I hope, Shruti, that question, but I just have one clarificatory question to you, which the other party is asking. Maybe they have asked it with regards to what is your take on the issue of which part of the land belongs to the tribals and which part of the land belongs to Green Grow Energy? So Shruti or Jonathan, any of you could answer that.
Yeah. I definitely acknowledge that question was asked. I think there are two things I want to say. Firstly, what my counsel has asked was about the environmental impact assessment that the jointly submitted information at page 3, paragraph 1, had referred to, and I quote, "Experts from environmental organizations criticize the EIA submitted by Green Grow Energy, calling it incomplete and biased." This is important for us to understand because we need to understand what went wrong so that in future, if Green Grow ever wants to do any future project, that the same mistakes, and I use the word mistakes because that word was used by Tasha, such mistakes won't appear again. And on to the question that Nathan that you talked about. What exactly are you seeking from us when you say let's validate the land? Are you asking us to bring out a map and start drawing colorful lines on it? I'm not quite clear about what that means. But what I can say is that the tribe's sacred sites and burial grounds in your initial phases of land clearing have been dug up, places of immense cultural, spiritual, and religious importance. So that is the situation at hand right now. And so I'll pass the time to my counsel to talk a little bit more about what an appropriate process could mean.
Yes, I think I understand that, you would want, as a company, you would want verification of specific land use and demarcation. Well, it is clear both to everybody here that there has been an encroachment of the territory, and if Gringo requires specific demarcations, this can be provided. But we think that this issue is subsidiary to a more serious issue of actual environmental protection, because what we've heard from Gringo is that you care about sustainability, that your project is in line with the UNFCCC principles. Now, UNFCCC principles don't focus only on carbon emissions, right? There are a lot more that goes into the creation of a solar power plant. When the indigenous population wants to think about a solar power plant being in its vicinity, a lot of things need to be considered. Waste. This waste could be chemical waste, emissions, solid waste, water use and contamination, airborne particles, all these things. What we want to know, and this is why we keep talking about the EIAs, because in the past you have submitted an EIA. We want to know what goes beyond this process. If there's not much clarification you can provide us in that respect, perhaps we could move on and talk about how EIAs can be conducted jointly by Green Grow and by us in order for there to be communication between indigenous rights, as pointed out by Jonathan, and Green Grow's interests in long-term sustainability. So if we could hear any ideas you have on that.
Great, thank you. Both my client and I acknowledge any of your concerns, but the process is as simple as that. I'll do it as a checklist. First, we provided an application. Second of all, the government provided us the approval. Thirdly, we had with the promise that we would provide employment opportunities for people and have a long-term environmental promises like reassurance of increased safety. And then we just started the project. Was there mistakes in between those? Yes, my client and I acknowledge it. It's as simple as that. Is there any way to approve, to be able to improve that in the future? Of course, we are a company in the end of the day, and we do acknowledge this. However, dwelling on this matter nonstop will not provide alternative solutions. Even though we are a massive company and a corporation, doesn't mean my client and I or Gringo does not make any mistakes. We're human beings in the end of the day, and unfortunately, we sincerely apologize for the harm that we have caused. Furthermore, in regards to everything else, we are willing, as we said in our opening statement, to find alternative solutions, to collaborate with the tribe, to ensure that when the project is continued, we will give back the land. And as said by the tribe leader, yes, this is what we're asking for, the verification process, a colorful map where it circles out, this is the tribe's, this is ours. It's as simple. We're trying to make this as simple as easily it can be done. We don't want to complicate this, my client and I, okay, from our perspective, of course, if you also agree. Overall, we want to provide collaborative solutions that we will talk later on, but if it's okay with the mediators, I would request the caucus at this moment to discuss privately before we discuss this with the requesting party, please.
Of course, Natalie, that can definitely be arranged. And I'd like to assure Jonathan and Shruti that you also have an equal opportunity to call for a caucus. Please feel to let Nathan and I know if you feel the need for a caucus. If I can kindly request Shruti and Jonathan to leave the session and rejoin in 7.5 minutes, and that would be.
We will place TC 35 in a breakout room. The caucus can go on in this session.
Okay, right. Thank you so much. Please rejoin in 7.5.
So, welcome to this session, firstly, Tarsia and Natalie. So I just want to, at the beginning of this caucus, I just want to assure you that this session has an extra layer of confidentiality. And as you can see, anything and everything can only be revealed with your express consent.
Yes.
So with this, I just want to ask firstly, what are your thoughts about this session? How is this session progressing in general?
Personally, I think that, me and my council did see the willingness to sort of try and sort this issue out, to not to sort of find some sort of solution. But I do think there has been some dwelling on certain parts of the matter in itself, which I do think is just making it a bit harder to get to a point where we're actually closer to a solution and maybe a settlement even. Which is why I think my council thought that this was the best time to call a caucus and try and discuss what actually our opinions are, and personally where we stand currently at this point, and the kind of the purpose that we have in approaching this mediation, and what we're looking out of it, and what we're looking to provide to the tribe out of it. So without just like wasting any more time, let me just say that we know that there has been a mistake that's happened from our end, and we have acknowledged it on multiple occasions. But I do think that dwelling on a certain topic about the process, and it's just complicating things at this point. We know that we have, missed certain things in the process because as we said, there was a timeline, there was a deadline, and we hurried on it. I think in terms of the legalities and the offers, I'll just hand over to my counsel to sort of elaborate more on what we're looking for, just in terms of what we want to get out of this mediation session specifically.
Thank you. Given that my client and I have heard several times the tribes trying to find solutions, and they're saying they want to collaborate with us. This is what my client and I also seek. Therefore, we have several solutions for this matter. Firstly, Green Grow Energy is open to give back the land that belongs to the tribe and restore it in any formal way. If that is monetary or non-monetary way, they can decide. We are happy to do so. Furthermore, we are happy. I want to clarify that all of this will be in exchange that we continue the project to the remaining land. I just wanted to clarify that. But to ensure the concerns that the tribes, John and his counselor also stated about future development of the project, we will appoint a committee. This committee will entail a third party, which is going to be an independent expert environmental individual, one member from the tribe, and one member from our own company. This will ensure that any issues, any problems that could arise are handled in a certain way within that committee, so both sides are happy and no further environmental concerns or harm towards the tribe can occur, mistakes such as this, unfortunately. Furthermore, we are happy to provide the tribe lifetime scholarships for their children for educational purposes. We're also happy to guarantee employment opportunities for the community members after we complete this project. Lastly, we've heard the tribe that they were also concerned about the future environmental harms. Therefore, we are also open to provide long-term funding for conservation projects within the Ranata forest. I'll refer back to my client after, if you want the mediators to clarify anything, to mention what the mediators are allowed to discuss with the requesting party.
While I see there are quite a lot of proposals from your side, what I want to seek a clarification is that Tasha, you had mentioned that you had missed something in the process, and Natalie also mentioned that quite a lot of time that it was a mistake. So could you just shed some more light on this?
This was specifically the FRA that we had missed, which was basically just taking permission from the tribe itself to clear out the land. That was a mistake from our management side. I think because it was just the FCC, and then we had to take permission, but because this is new to us, we haven't done any project in this area, so we didn't know that this sort of permission was required. So it was a mistake from not just the management, but also the legal team in order to clarify certain things. But also, like I said, we are willing to provide as many alternative solutions and open to discuss this as much as possible on the basis that there is a verification, because this is not just about like the monetary sum of how much money goes into the restoration, but it's the fact about the public statement. Now, our company is literally built on the fact that we promote sustainable energy growth. And it's really important to us that our image does not suffer if we didn't do anything to violate any law, any legality. So I think that way, for us, it's very important that we do get the verification done. And if it entails us drawing a map and then like circling out exactly where things are, then so be it. That's all we request, because I think that would be very important, because at the end of the day, we want the project to progress. This is very, very important. This is not just for us, but also the government and their objectives. So it's important for the country and it's beneficial overall. So we're open to discuss this as much as possible. But I think like at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of progress. We need to see the willingness from their side to be able to allow us, you know, a leeway of how we need to resolve this mistake and how we need to proceed forward. And in terms of the information that can be revealed, I think all that we've discussed today has been very organic, and there's literally no such malicious intent. We do put this across in good faith, and we're absolutely fine with you in revealing the offers, except that we do insist, and we're actually like the mediators to also insist to the parties about the verification process, and not sort of dwell on the mistake that's already happened. We can't do anything about it now. We only have to try and fix the mistake, which we're very much trying to do. So I think that I hope that clears some things out.
Yes,
And
indeed.
if I may say one
Yes,
clarification, thank you. So the offers, Tasha and Natalie, are okay with diverging in the main session, but if I can clarify with you whether you're okay with mentioning to the other parties the oversight that happened in regards to the permission, not getting permission from the tribe. Are you okay with disclosing that, or is that something you're not comfortable?
We're okay disclosing everything we've discussed this. We just want the mediators to help us address that continuation of the project is the only thing Greengrow is asking to do, and we're open to resolve, to restore and like fix our mistakes any form of way they believe. We just are the only thing we're asking is to continue the project, even if it is in a smaller scale of land. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We understand your perspectives as to what do you want from this session, and I guess the caucus was quite fruitful. So I would like to assure you again that everything will remain confidential. So now, since the other party is in, requesting party, would you also the responding party to please move to the breakout session?
Welcome back, Jonathan and Shruti. Thank you for bearing with us while we had our caucus earlier. Just to mention to you that the caucus comes with an added layer of confidentiality. So unless you give us explicit approval to disclose anything in the joint session, we will not be disclosing anything that you're not comfortable with disclosing to the other party. So Shruti and Jonathan, if we can understand why you wanted to call for a caucus, anything that you want to discuss?
Yeah, actually, there were a couple of reasons I would like to raise to you. Firstly, the team from Greengrow don't really seem like they are answering our question. We've been asking about their processes, but they just see, but they simply seem to say, "Oh, if we draw a line on a map, then everything will be well." And honestly speaking, I feel quite disrespected by them because they keep using the word simple. They use the word simple in explaining their processes, simple checklists. The matter is simple. Deforestation is a simple problem that can be solved. Is it really, and I'd like to pose this question back to the mediators, is it really that simple? When they are threatening to clear 1,500 acres of land, is it really that simple? When they are trying to threaten the existence of my tribe? Is it really that simple when they are trying to destroy the way of life of the tribe, of my tribe? And so the reason why Shruti and I keep emphasizing on the process is to ensure that we find out the underlying reasons why their process didn't work, or from what I hear, they don't even have a process. And then go towards establishing a certain set process so that in future, when they have future projects, they do not make the same mistakes. And they keep saying, oh, it's a simple mistake. But is it really that simple when there's so much at stake, especially for us? It is the existence of a tribe that we are talking about. It cannot be that simple.
That is true. And I think what we really require your help for, mediators, is to help us steer the conversation in a way that we can show Green Grow that what we need is accountability, what we need is transparency, what we need is trust. They seem to be reluctant to show us whether they have processes or whether what these processes are. If it is just that they don't have any processes, could you help us lead the discussion in a productive manner where we can brainstorm ways in which the tribe can work with Green Grow in order to establish these processes that are very necessary? Because clearing 1,500 acres of land based on a simple mistake just because we are just human cannot possibly be considered something that is acceptable, especially since now we want to establish a sustainable business. So if they were to bring their solar panels in, we are also worried about the long-term environmental impact this will have on the forest itself, including emissions from chemical runoffs from their solar panels. And this is why we keep talking about investments. So all we have to say is that if there is no process, we hope mediators can help us move in a direction where such a process can be established and Green Grow's actions can be held accountable externally.
Yes, thank you so much, Jonathan and Shruti. And Jonathan, I definitely hear you. I know how important the Ranada forest is for you. It's your way of life, and this really threatens your identity and basically your cultural heritage. So Shruti and Jonathan, so I see that y'all are very keen on transparency and ensuring that there is a set process. That's something I actually felt throughout the session. So with your permission, just let me know what you'd like for us to disclose in the joint session. So you want to know whether or not there is an established process or procedure by which Green Grow actually goes into deforestation, and if it appears that there is no such process, you want both parties to collaboratively work towards establishing set processes, especially when it comes to any future projects that Green Grow may be involved in. Is that right, Shruti? Is that something you want to discuss openly with the other party?
Yes, actually, that is quite important, because if we don't discuss the process, then Shruti and I cannot ensure that Green Grow is willing to make amends, to be accountable, and to give us the guarantee that such a situation won't happen. So I think providing that sort of structure would be very, very helpful.
Yes, and in addition to that, Shruti, I heard you talk about long-term environmental impacts that may arise due to the manufacturing facility being built. Is that something you want to discuss in the joint session as well?
Yes, definitely. I think once we can move past accountability and transparency, like building trust between parties that there is a process, then we can move forward and address these issues through that process. So if you can just help us facilitate this and move past, it seems we're talking at cross purposes. So if you could help us align, this would be very helpful in moving the conversation along.
Thank you so much.
If I may just add something.
Yes, Nathan.
So since I heard that you also are very willing to collaboration, provided that we establish a mechanism of process. I just want to know from you what sort of a collaboration are you looking for, if any, and if we are able to establish that process which you want. Could you just shed more light on that collaboration thing?
Yeah, so collaboration doesn't mean that we want to enter into the solar panel business. That's not what we are meaning. What we actually mean by collaboration is really decision making being able to have veto powers such that we ensure that Green Grow does not make the same mistake.
Yeah, I think we are open to discussing with Green Grow how to move forward in terms of sharing responsibility in looking at how this project can go on. But I think what the tribe and Jonathan have mentioned again and again is that there must be trust and accountability. Right? There must be some sort of structure where we are able to sit down and make decisions together, and we do not have lapses in judgment that leave an entire population at stake.
So I guess that answers the question. Is there anything you would like to add on to it, Uzma?
Not really. I think we're coming to the end of the caucus. So thank you, Jonathan and Shruti. Thank you so much. I think we'll be joined by Tasha and Natalie very soon. And we can look forward to the joint session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, we assure you that whatever you have said will remain confidential, and whatever you have permitted only will disclose that.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Natalie and Tasha.
Hello and welcome back. So I think we've had two private sessions with both parties, and Nathan and I, we got to hear from you like firsthand what you feel about this and what you would like to discuss with the other party. And what both Nathan and I feel is that you're very much in that collaborative spirit, and you very much want to resolve this amicably, because the project for Tasha and of course the Ranada Forest for Jonathan, they're all very, very close to heart and very important. So as for, with the permission of both parties, if we can disclose some of what was discussed in the private session. So Tasha and Natalie, you actually proposed 4 solutions, and so I'd like to, on behalf of Tasha and Natalie, relate to Jonathan and Shruti. So firstly, they said that they assure to give back the land that belongs to the tribe. They assure complete restoration, and this can be either in monetary or non-monetary terms. Jonathan, the Damti tribe is free to decide which way you want to go about it, whether it's monetary or non-monetary. And this, they say, is in exchange for the continuation of the project. A second offer that was brought up by Green Grow was to appoint a committee. I think this is something they mentioned earlier as well, where it's a third-party independent committee where you have 1 member from the Damti tribe and 1 member from Green Grow, and all matters, issues will be handled by this committee. So this ensures transparency and that both parties have an equal say when it comes to these matters. Thirdly, Green Grow is willing to offer lifetime scholarships for the children of the Damti tribe, lifetime educational scholarships. Fourthly, employment opportunities for members of the Damti tribe community. And the fifth offer that Green Grow has is long-term funding for conservation projects in the Ranada forest. And what they really want, Jonathan and Shruti, is to for you to your input on the verification process, and also assurance when it comes to continuation of the project. Nathan, is there anything I missed?
No, I guess you have covered quite almost everything. It's just something that I would like to add, that the requesting party is emphasizing again and again on the settlement of a process, that there has to be a proper process with regards to the future projects. So if that is what maybe we can agree upon, then the party is also very willing to collaborate in the future. And since it's quite sentimental for them, I guess if we may agree upon the settling of the process, then they are open to the collaboration.
Yeah, I think I can chime in a little bit on this, because ultimately the process is something that the tribe wants. Ultimately, what we want is to rebuild trust and accountability from Green Grow, not just in the current mistake, but also in all future projects that you'll be undertaking. I hear from before the caucus, you said that the processes you have is is a simple checklist and that the situation is simple. But I think I would like to reiterate the gravity of the situation here. There is nothing simple. There is really nothing simple about the situation at hand. This is about the existence of the culture, the practices, the traditions of my tribe. And that's why we want to have a comprehensive process to ensure that these things won't happen again. With that being said, I think it would be apt if I elaborate a little bit on what these processes are. Firstly, I would like to ask for guarantees from GreenGrow that such encroachment into the Damti tribe land would not happen again. And that means, and that starts from the current solar panel project that you have. That means relocate your project outside of our territory. Secondly, we need assurances that such projects will not, future projects will not go towards encroaching our land. And thirdly, to establish a committee to make decisions on the Ranaga forest. Let me just elaborate a little bit more on that, which means to establish a committee where GreenGrow and elders from my tribe would be on to ensure that the projects that you intake do not encroach any form of environmental degradation that goes against my tribe's beliefs on traditional ecology, because the elders of my tribe have expert views and opinions on the traditional ecological knowledge of the forest.
And I think what we see is that this third thing that John has mentioned is in line with what the that GreenGrow you have suggested as well. But what we need before that is to hear your opinion on the first two options, and also on that third committee, we would also have we can discuss in more detail on the committee itself, how it is to be established, timelines, etc. But first, let's hear about the first two options that Jonathan has proposed.
Thank you very much for your concerns, for providing your concerns. But the reason we provided the solutions is to kind of answer those questions that you have asked us right now in a way. So that guarantee the process, guarantee that future harm will not happen. That's the reason we're providing that committee. There will be multitude of people in there, people from the tribe, people from our company, expert environmental people. That guarantees, it's a contractual guarantee that no future harm, no mistakes would ever happen again from GreenGrow Energy. My client and I are really trying to understand what other solutions the tribe is seeking, given that GreenGrow has provided so many collaborative solutions, and those solutions indirectly answer the processing question. When the committee is provided before the project restarts, that will be outlined in a contractual agreement. How the management team is going to handle it, how future projects are going to be handled adequately in the agreement of both the tribe and the government. And also, my client and I, unfortunately, we see some resistance towards a collaborative solution. Our hands are tied at this moment. Really, my client and I are really trying to understand the tribe and Mr. John and the council is saying. We do understand the concern, my client and I. We have provided solutions, but we can't do anything else if there is no willingness to solve this in a way. And I would like to refer to my client to further elaborate this matter.
Like my counsel has just specified, we do see that this particular matter has a lot of complexities involved, and there are certain guarantees and assurances that I see as a must from the tribe. Without that, I don't see how we're going to move forward. like I said, we did propose many collaborative solutions from the beginning. And as said by the tribe's opening statement, they were willing to look into collaborative solutions. But as of this moment, since we don't see where this is going, or we don't see how this is going to progress, since there is no willingness to budge on this particular process matter, I think maybe it's better to ballpark this for a moment. And just maybe move on to the next points in the agenda, and try and get some sort of movement into this mediation session. So I think that this particular thing, we have sort of come to some sort of common ground partially, but I think that because there are a lot of specifics that need to be discussed, I think I think that this particular issue, it'd just be better to be ballparked for now and just move on to the next agenda. And if the responding clients and the mediators are okay with that, please let us know.
Tasha and Natalie, thanks for explaining your perspective well on this. I think there is a misunderstanding. It is not that there is no agreement on the fact that solutions are to be produced. The question is whether these solutions are tenable and make sense to both parties involved. So earlier, John had mentioned that he would like a legally binding guarantee of non-recurrence of these events. You mentioned that the committee would be an indirect form of this. What we want is direct reassurance that this will not happen again. We also did mention that a committee is something we're open to discussing. So it is not that we are not open to discussing the presence of a committee. It is that certain things must be discussed first before we can move to the committee itself.
Of course, sorry to interrupt, but the reason I'm interrupting is to clarify this as well. We are willing to do that. Before the committee is handled, there is going to be, as I mentioned before, a contractual agreement that would guarantee the needs of the tribe, which is guarantee a promise that this won't happen ever again, which would guarantee the process of how it's going to be handled in the future, and which would appoint the committee itself to be able to protect that and reassure that and observe that. We're trying to address this, my client and I, so if you would like to further discuss this.
Hi, Natalie. I appreciate the vigor and the need for clarification. Maybe mediators, you could step in, because I think it would be a lot more conducive to the process if parties have the time to talk when it is our time to understand and make solutions. So maybe what we can do is, instead of getting into a frenzy about the details, mediators, could you help us take stock of the options put out? Because I think a lot is being said by Jonathan, a lot is being said by Tasha and her counsel, but maybe we are not understanding how these options interlink. So if we are aligned on the fact that there will be a contractual guarantee, if we are aligned that a committee may be established and details can be discussed further, I don't see where there is disagreement, actually. What we can do is to understand what exactly are the processes that will be, well, let me not use the word process since it has brought a bit of unhappiness on part of council, but what we can do is let's talk about the order of things that will occur. Earlier, Jonathan mentioned that legal binding guarantees of non-recurrence are necessary for the tribe. What I understand from council is that this would be possible, and this would be a precursor to the committee. Mediators, if you could down all of these options and help us navigate these proposals so we can actually come to a solution instead of shelving it for another day, because these are important points that should be discussed at this mediation table.
Yes, Shruti. So in addition to thank you, Nathan. So in addition to the offers like the lifetime scholarship and employment opportunities that Natalie and Tasha brought forward, so I think there is common ground when it comes to two matters here. Firstly, it is regarding the guarantee. So Natalie, Tasha and Natalie, you said that you're ready to give contractual guarantee that the land will be restored and the land will be given back to the rightful owners of the Dumpty tribe, and that this could be done in monetary or non-monetary ways. So to that, Jonathan, I think you want a direct legally binding guarantee, direct assurance that encroachments of this nature would not happen again. And if I heard you right, you also said that it needed to start with this project, and that this project had to be, that you want the project to be relocated because you want it to start right now. If I can hear from Natalie and Tasha, then what their views are on the relocation of the project, on this nature of assurance that Jonathan and Shruti are actually expecting of you.
So in regard to the part about the guarantee, as we said, the committee is sort of in place to ensure that such things don't happen. That includes the current project, because right now what we're discussing is the current project, and future projects can be discussed later at a later time. But what happens right now will set a precedent to what happens later. That's the reason we insist that this particular project has, it will have an order, because that's why the committee is in place. And, with the contract that my counsel mentioned, it will outline the things that need to be dealt with beforehand, so no mishaps or genuine mistakes such as what's happened by our end, by the management team, ever happens again. So I think that's the reason the committee is sort of the main resolution that we can provide to the tribe to sort of reassure them alongside the contract. Just a slight clarification with what Uzma said. We are not planning to relocate. We're not looking to relocate. We want to continue the project in the same area. It's just the area, the scale of the area, instead of 1,500 acres, might go down. If through the verification process we find out that we have encroached the land and we have done a lot of damage, which is why we're setting in place safeguards for them, saying that we're agreeing to restore it, we're agreeing to provide monetary or non-monetary sums, just solutions to sort of restore what was damaged. But unfortunately, the mistake has already happened, and all we can do is try and just find a solution moving forward. I hope that clarifies the concerns that the mediators had. And if any other questions that need to be discussed, mediators, please feel free to just throw them out, and then we'll just answer them as you wish.
So from what I can gather, Tasha, and I would like to summarize it to the requesting party once. So they are very much willing to make a committee, but there are very few chances, or rather there are no chances, or not, they're not willing to relocate. And the entire reason the committee is being set up is to oversee the entire project and ensure that no future uh, maybe violations happen in that case. And for project to continue, they are also willing to offer you certain offers which we have already put down. But so that is what essentially the responding party here.
And
if I may seek a clarification from Tasha. So Tasha, talk about the committee, and then is this guarantee that you're willing to give contingent upon the committee being formed? Because if I heard Shruti right, Shruti, you mentioned that you could go into detail with regards to the composition of the committee later, because there's slight differences in terms of the composition. Yes, both parties have advocated for members of both parties to be in the committee, but I think Tasha and Natalie talked about a 2-member committee, and I'm assuming Shruti is more than a 2-member committee. So help me understand if these guarantees that you're talking about, Tasha, the contractual guarantee, is it contingent upon the committee being formed? And I'd like to hear from Shruti and Jonathan if you're fully agreeable to the formation of this committee.
Yes, this committee in the beginning, when we addressed, my client and I addressed, it was like a 3-point committee. It could expand furthermore, which would include a member from our company, a member of the tribe, some members, so how much both of us agree upon, and a third party, an independent third party that it's an expert towards environmental projects, to ensure that there is a neutrality in a way. And yes, the contract would be the first thing that will be established, that will provide the guarantee, which would detail the process of who's appointing the committees, who are the members, what are their roles, and when this committee has been appointed and that contractual agreement and guarantee towards the tribe has been agreed upon, that committee can continue for any future projects. But given that right now we're discussing about the present project, it will establish this project before we continue. All of this, I want to clarify, is to provide a precedent to ensure that no other company or no other people create the same mistakes we did indirectly, with no malicious way it happened. So this is why we're providing this solution. And of course, everything will be handled before Green Grow continues the continuation of this project. It will happen before the discussion. And then when everyone is happy, we will continue the project in the same location. I hope that is clarifying for everything. And my client and I want to remind that the project is to provide long-term environmental positive effects. So we were never, my client and I never seeking to cause any harm. So I hope the requesting party is satisfied with this solution and with this answer. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for the clarifications. I think we can see areas of overlap. I would just like to make a few clarifications on what we've reached so far. So what we hear from you is that first, you agree that there will be a legally binding guarantee that there will be no such future encroachments. This document, which of course we can, Council Natalie and I, we can take this offline and discuss the details later, but this document will detail the setup of a committee. This committee would include members from the tribe and from Green Grow, and I think this John can talk more about this later. So that is the second part on the committee. As for land use, what we need to understand from you is that after such maps are provided of the location and the demarcation of the territory, will the project continue outside of this area? Because you did say that there will be full restoration, full return of this territory. Just to confirm, will this project be taking place outside the territory of the tribe?
Just to address the council's concerns here, thank you so much for the summary. I think that really summarized it perfectly well, and it just appropriately put across what we were trying to explain. So in regards to the land that you just said, it is exactly what's going to happen. We are going to give back the land. We are going to restore it to as much as possible. And we are going to make sure that the continuation of this project, because we said we're not going to relocate, happens outside of the area and doesn't encroach your area of the land and causes you any more trouble or harm. Because like we said, we are for energy. We really are trying to, make sure we have a positive impact on the world. So it's in no way to create any sort of like tension regarding this situation, because I get there's already a lot of problems surrounding it regarding the press and the protests, and I just think that certain things put in place will just verify, not just for us but for other companies as well as the people around who are very much concerned about this particular issue. That's why we're willing to put fences in place, so it's very, very clear which whose boundary is what, and make it as restrictive as possible, so there is absolutely no way in which during the project, after the project, for any future projects, there's any sort of encroachment anymore. I hope that helps and answers the concerns of the requesting council.
Yes, and in the interest of time, I think we are almost close towards the end of the session. If I may highlight some of the key points, we're still on the first agenda point, but I think we had a very, very fruitful discussion, a lot of solutions and a lot of constructive dialogue that happened. So with regard to, so I think Tasha and Natalie were very keen on basically verifying whether or not the land was in fact encroached or not, and they are also very keen on continuing the project. You emphasized that you were not willing to relocate. However, you gave Jonathan and Shruti the assurance that the project will still continue, but you will not encroach upon the lands of the Damti tribe. And Jonathan and thing that you were very keen on was establishing set processes, because you felt that there was no proper established process in place. And I think we are heading in the right direction, if I may say so, Shruti, because you really wanted a process established, not just for this project, but for other future projects as well. And I think both parties have agreed to entering into a contract. And this contract will be a legally binding guarantee for non-recurrence of mistakes of this nature. And also the contract will outline the committee that both parties have agreed to, their composition, the establishment, and this committee will henceforth deal with all matters relating to, the Ranada Forest or this project, and any and all matters will be dealt with by this committee. And so where we stand here today, I think we made a lot of headway. And as for homework for the parties, I think both parties, the council, especially Natalie and Shruti, you all can flesh out the details of the contract and ensure that the purpose of the contract is met, essentially, non-recurrence of such events, and the fact that this is a legally binding guarantee that Natalie and Tasha are willing to give, and also some homework on the committee. I think there's a lot of overlap in terms of the composition of the committee, but regarding the process and the objectives of the committee, again, that's something that a little bit of homework you can do before we meet in the next session. Nathan, anything that I missed? Anything you want to add?
No, I guess thank you so much for that summary. I guess you have covered pretty much it. So just wanted to conclude due to paucity of time. What I feel is it was very constructive session wherein both parties were almost able to reach an amicable solution. It's just that due to paucity of time, we couldn't delve into the specifics of it. So I highly encourage both the parties here to come back for another session and maybe we can solve this issue together. So as we conclude the session, I want to acknowledge the dedication and efforts of both the parties, which they have shown in engaging in this discussion. And I guess in the next session, we can find a solution which respects the cultural heritage of the Damti tribe, while also recognizing the potential for the responsible development of the green grow energy. With this, I would like to pass on the mic to the requesting and responding parties for their closing statement.
Yeah, thank you so much for today's mediation session. I think we have finally reached some sort of an agreement on the contract, as well as about future guarantees that this situation won't happen. I would like to reiterate that this entire situation is actually very dire because it concerns the existence, the traditions of my tribe. And so I look very much forward to meeting in the next mediation session to talk about a little bit more about the committee. Should you have anything to add?
I think I'd like to, in view of the time, I think we can just think about how we are going to settle this committee, come up with specifics on who, how, and why we're putting them on the committee. Responding party, for your closing as well.
I think that really summarizes well why we came to this mediation session in the first place. And just to reiterate and just reflect what the requesting council has said, I think that we are very much willing and open to do as much as possible from our end as we can, because at the end of the day, this is about reaching a collaborative solution that works for both of us. So I think that way, thanks to the mediators facilitating this conversation really well, it's just worked. If my council has anything to add, I'll just let her.
Overall, I would also agree with my counsel that it was a very fruitful mediation session, and we are happy, my client and I, to for future mediation sessions. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, parties, for that session. Thank you.
So well done. Oh my goodness. So well done. I'm trying to find balloons to put up in the air, celebration emojis. All right, Basa Saran, what do we do next?
Ma'am, we can start with the feedback first.
Is it the feedback, or can we just go meet the four of us? Can we meet first before the feedback? Because I think that would be better.
Yes,
I mean,
I'll
if it's
just,
okay with all the other assessors.
Of course.
Can we do that?
Yeah, maybe
yeah,
you can put us in a breakout room,
yes.
like,
Yeah.
whichever way. Yeah.
Thank you for that flexibility. Hmm. So here we are, and we're thrilled to have been your judges, and we're going to go ahead and start with one judge and the next and the next and the next, and just move through the 5 of us. So we applaud you for your patience, and we hope that the feedback that you hear not only congratulates you for a job well done, but also gives you growth to move forward, because this, I'm sure, is not going to be your last tournament. I'll be in Sao Paulo, actually. I don't know if anyone's going there next week, but I will be down there as well. So there's more tournaments to participate in. So let's go ahead and get started with our feedback. Thank you.
Kathleen, why don't you go first? Or Sanjeev wanted to go first. Sanjeev, right?
Sanjeev has to.
Sorry. Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, to be honest, I would love to hear, your feedbacks. I just want to be a mute spectator. Frankly, all participants, you've done an amazing job. I've been in awe all through. I was just spellbound, hearing each one of you. This was an amazing effort. And frankly, I did make this comment. I am saying it again. Don't think I'm competent to, judge that kind of a quality, frankly. But that was a amazing learning, and you guys did a rocking session. But I would really have, the veterans give their feedback. So wherever you guys can still, improve and pick it up from them, it'll be great. And I just want to kind of, hear them out as well. So thank you and all the best.
Okay, I'll go next. TC35, well, first of all, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here. I'm riveted because of the professionalism of all of you. I woke wide awake, like, whoa, this is fun. So congratulations, you both everyone deserves to be here, which is really fun to see because that doesn't always happen in the final round. TC35, these are the questions for you. So professional, so amazing. And how long do you hold someone hostage in a mediation to their mistakes that cause you to be grieved and upset? That tenor of holding them hostage created the first caucus need because the team 22 couldn't feel like they could break through that. So how long do you want to hold that injustice close to your vest and make it palatable where it seems to be a bit hopeless to work with you? So think about that moving forward. And nothing is simple. If that is stuck in your craw, as we say in America, remember I'm from the United States, why not bring it up? If that word simple is like turning inside you, why not bring it up on the table for clarity and be transparent? You've used that word simple 3 times now. It's really difficult to hear that for us. So think about in the organic conversation that you can't control in the tournament, and none of us can control it because none of us as mediators know what's going to be said. Think about your reactivity and your responsivity and your transparency when that word triggers you because of the role that you're playing and you're acting out in the role play. Think of how to use that. And when you're looking for something and you want language that gives you 100% guarantee, realize that that is part of the drama triangle. You're the persecutor, you're the victim, or you're the hero. So if you're going to do that persecutor or victim, hey, we want 100% guarantee. Like, is life ever about 100% guarantee? Make yourselves responsible. What words are you looking for to get you 100% guarantee? So TC22, that was the way to break through to TC35. What words did they need from you to have that 100% guarantee, to give that relief? And the reason that TC35 is there, despite your beautiful apology over and over that you had at the mediation table, what's an apology? It's 3 parts. Remorse. We're sorry. We'll take responsibility. Part number 2. Number 3, we want to make amends. There was one word that you did not take responsibility, TC22, enough to relieve the tension of TC35, the damage that you caused. Oh, we'll just put in new trees. Are you kidding me? It takes 50 years for new trees to grow back into the old trees. The damage that you caused was not expressed enough. We have done irrevocable damage. We cannot put those full-size trees back in place, or those monuments we destroyed. We can't replace that. They needed you to say those things to fully accept responsibility with your willingness to make amends. So you're willing to make amends, you're saying you're sorry, but you left out the middle. The damage that you caused was not dramatized enough for them to feel good about you. And that's why they went to their caucus. Like, hey, these people think it's simple. It's not simple. And it wasn't simple because, everything's destroyed, just like the big earthquakes in Thailand, in Bangkok. It's terrible. All that stuff is destroyed. So you have to think about what you're really doing when you say you're sorry. And you have to think about when someone is pushing back at you. The simple question is, what words do you need to hear from us? What words do you need to see in the settlement agreement? Let's write them down right now. Please write them down for us. So the way that you break the drama triangle always is responsibility. Assign responsibility to them. Assign responsibility to yourself. That's how you break the drama triangle. Mediators, so good. Like all of you, I scored you like a point apart. It's just, you're so good, all of you. And mediators, you needed to see the gap. You clarified so well, but guess what you didn't clarify? Damages. Goodbye, Sandeep. It's so nice to have you here. You didn't clarify the damages. As mediators, we'd like to hear more about the damages at the table. That's what your table needed, although Claude doesn't use a table anymore. He uses armchair. That's what Claude's armchairs needed for you to clarify the damage. On a scale of 1 to 10, how is this damage looking like to you? They needed you to do that. Otherwise, that table wouldn't have gotten stuck where it got stuck. As good as you two were, you need to pay attention to every single word. And damages is subjective. You don't know what damages mean, so you just can't hear this word damages and just go, okay, damages. No, on a scale of 1 to 10. And can you describe those damages to us? And how do those damages feel to you? We understand we've got destruction of property here and sacred trees and statues, but how does it feel in addition for these damages to have happened to your sacred land? Do you see how that would have helped TC 35? To feel more, the justice at the table wouldn't have felt like an injustice. They would have felt justice as opposed to injustice. So these are the things that were needed. And in the caucus, don't empower yourselves as the mediators. What can we disclose for you? Empower the parties first in your next tournament. What would you like to disclose at the table? Ask that question first of them, because we're here at the table to give agency, autonomy, and have parties that are fully empowered. So change that question next time you're the mediator. Oh, we don't want to talk about, we want you to disclose. Are you sure you want us to disclose? We'd be glad to, but they get the option first because they're a bit muzzled. Why can't they talk about the word simple? They should be talking about it, so you empower them. So those are the things I have to say, and it was so good. And look for the gaps. As mediators, look for the gaps of what isn't being talked about. And you say, in addition, and nice mediator 11, great transition words. Transition words and sentences are the golden glue to keep a mediation together. So in addition, as your mediator, I've noticed we haven't talked about damage yet. So bring it up. Okay, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Claude, will you come in next?
We French are chevaleresque, so I will leave the ladies first.
Prachi, which one of us should go first?
Go for it, ma'am. I'd love to hear you.
Okay. So to begin with, as both Kathleen and Sanjeev said, it was really good, the way all of you have prepared for this mediation. You were very, very thorough with all the information and you put it forth very well. And altogether, a very good performance by everybody. So it did become slightly difficult for all of us to score you. Okay, now coming to TC 22, right? Yeah. One thought from my side was that, I think you jumped into the session. Don't you think you jumped into the session by making an apology, acknowledging your mistake? I think you went in a bit too early. Immediately acknowledging it. I mean, that's my viewpoint. That you should have set forth certain other information you had before going into that part of it as to what exactly went wrong at your end, right? And the other thing I'd like to say is that you did mention about you're all along talking about restoring trees and giving back the property and continuing. But I thought the emphasis on the other things, like giving, you did mention it, I'm saying, but you didn't give too much emphasis on the jobs for once it is, the whole thing is set up, and the scholarships for the kids and things like that. They should, because see, everything is a part of it, right? And I think that's it for you people. And TC 35. I to some extent agree with Kat that you did hold on to that not following procedures. That became slightly repetitive, right? And then you also, what I would like to say is, besides this, the same thing what I said to T22, that besides, for the I'd like to say that both the parties and the councils did make good use of the mediators. That's one thing, one observation from my part, which was which was good, and there was good team collaboration between the client and the councils. That was good. You complemented each other well. Now, coming to the mediators, I think both of you did a fantastic job. Very good. Opening statements were very good. And, the way you asked questions and gathered information. You listened. Those are the main qualities of mediators: listening, gathering information, making, and then you made the parties comfortable enough to be able to speak freely. That again is very important, because if you don't, that's how they come out with confidential information. If you do not make sure that set forth what do you call it, an environment where they're ready to trust not only the mediator but the process also, right? And maybe you didn't get an opportunity. One thing you didn't do much about was reality testing. You didn't. I don't think both the mediators touched on that. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe you never got an opportunity because they were coming out with their options and prioritizing their options and etc. etc. So at some point of time, like when TC22 at some point got slightly upset that if they're not willing to listen to us, let's keep that aside and let's go on to the next point. So somewhere, reality testing is quite important in making parties realize that you're but now, that if not this, what then? Are you going to get anything better outside of this? But for that, everything else, and one more thing I'd like to say about the mediators is you really complemented each other well. You didn't sort of, run into each other. Co-mediation is a tough thing to do in real life, frankly speaking. It's not at all easy, because the moment the parties feel that the mediators are not on the same page, they sort of lose interest in the process. So that way you did a good job. So congratulations once again to everybody and all the rest. Thank you.
Excellent job, everyone. I think I'll just go with what Kathleen and Rukmani have already said, that it was fantastic. And it was one of the top competitions I've seen so far, in terms of the problem drafting as well as also in terms of the way the parties and the mediators conducted themselves. Very small observations from my side, only to cover up whatever is different from what Kathleen and Rukmani have already said. I felt that both the mediators were excellent. I wish you had used the conversation about financial gains, if any, a little bit more with the requesting party, because it seemed like it just kept revolving around in their emotions. And at the end of the day, we do want a financial conclusion in this sort of a scenario, because otherwise there will be no conclusion at all. And until and unless you actually break that mental barrier and start talking about the finances, especially you had the opportunity of the caucuses, you will not be able to start doing what we call as the mediation dance, which is between the two parties. The mediators will not be able to go back and forth with the numbers and with possible solutions. Moving on from the mediators, the requesting party, I felt, did not use one information which was about the youngsters wanting this development, and they could have used it in a better format to further the financial gain and further their negotiations. In fact, you could have twisted it around and used it for a better benefit, to do even more apology from the other side and even more finances than they were willing to give. So you should have used it as a tool very quickly into your caucus in a manner that you broke the barrier of coming to a resolution. With respect to the responding party, I thought you guys were fabulous as well. The only thing I would use a little bit more was to start talking about the legality of it with the mediator and pushing for a resolution. You were pushing for a lot of option generation, but you weren't using the mediators enough to push for a resolution per se. I would have taken the caucus in a format where I would have just pushed for some resolutions to be discussed, not just, and you could have broken down into categories and then started going about resolution with the help of the mediator. But fantastic for all of you. Congratulations to the winning party, just in case I'm not around at that time. I believe, I have a feeling I know who's going to win. Great. Claude?
Well, I think everything was said. I'll try to be brief in the advantage of time. We're already 40 minutes late. It's no surprise that the 6 of you made it to the final round. You've been exceptional. I will start with the mediators. You've done a fantastic job. You have not let one single issue open. And if I can give you a piece of advice, it will be 2. The first one, as Rukmani said, I'm a big fan. I'm a huge advocate of co-mediation, but it's not easy. It brings better results, but the difficulty is for the mediators to get along. And unfortunately, you were on video, which means that you cannot look at each other, and it's difficult to talk to each other. But after a while, performing co-mediation, we found a way, my co-mediator and I, we talk to each other. We look at each other as a party in the room, and we exchange in front of them, and we show them the way we cooperate, trying to contaminate them. But anyway, excellent job. As to the parties, I loved both your opening statement. Sasha and Natalie, you've been exceptional. You acknowledge verbally the two sides of the coin. You adopted a very pragmatic approach, and you made your interest quite clear. I think you could have insisted on the public statement, because the public statement involved both parties, and that's some kind, to me, it's superior to a contract, because you take the whole world as the public for your getting together. I love the way you acknowledge the genuine mistake. Going back to the mediators, I forgot something. I said 2 pieces of advice, and I only talked about co-mediation. The second piece of advice is, don't let them fool around the bush. After 5 minutes in the room, they are in love with you, the mediators. They don't want to leave the room. If they can stay a full week, they will. You want to get rid of them. You have another mediation waiting for you. Don't let them fool around the bush. They're going to go for hours. And that's what they did, Sasha and Natalie, with their genuine mistake. Acknowledging it was not enough, as Prachi mentioned. As to Jonathan and Shruti, the opening statement was fantastic. You used the magic words, the both of us, you and I, our way of life, tradition, and soul. Doing this, you've set the tone, you've set the path forward, and somehow you set the agenda. Your body language was exceptional, despite the fact we were on video. And Shruti, I do want to work with you, because you're the only one who used my favorite quote from Einstein, transforming a calamity into an opportunity. Thank you very much. Converting a calamity into an opportunity. My first language is French.
So congratulations, everyone. It was
Yeah,
just an
big thanks to
absolute
everyone.
privilege. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Do
Special
we have any questions?
And Asta, thank you for the organizers also. Good job. Asta, as usual, you've done a good job.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
And all of the other team members also.
I just want to tell you all that there's just difference of 1 mark between the negotiating teams. Just 1 mark. So we'll be announcing the winners very soon. But thank you, Kathleen ma'am and Rukmani ma'am, for being here. We'll just start with the valedictory ceremony. I would request Claude sir and Prachi ma'am to stay here to announce the winners.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can we leave? Asta, can we leave? Can I
Sure,
leave?
ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I'll go off camera and listen.
Medha, are you here?
Yes. So can we start with the valedictory ceremony now? So a very good evening to everyone present here. Welcome to the valedictory ceremony of the Calcutta University International Mediation Competition. So as we draw the curtains on this remarkable edition of CUIMC 2025, I would like to thank everyone present with us today for making it a success. Over these 3 days, we have witnessed an inspiring display of intellect, strategy, and diplomacy, qualities that define the very essence of mediation and conflict resolution. This competition has not merely been about winning or losing, it has been about the exchange of ideas, the sharpening of skills, and the fostering of a spirit of collaboration. To our esteemed sponsors and partners, this competition would not have been possible without your support. we are extremely grateful for your generosity and commitment to support mediation among the young generation. Now, I would like to introduce eVarta, our associate sponsor. eVarta ODR Solutions is a leading research and online dispute resolution consulting company based out of New Delhi. It specializes in ODR with a focus on mediation and arbitration services. It works to provide a reliable platform to resolve disputes with the help of advanced technologies and seasoned experts associated with it. It focuses on resolving disputes efficiently and amicably in today's fast-paced world. I would like to call upon Avinash Pandey, sir, the founder and director of eVarta ODR Solutions. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Mehta. And please allow me to join without opening my video because there is some technical glitch. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Namaskar and greetings of Nau Samvatsar 2082. First and foremost, I express my deep regard to student members and secretaries of the ADR Society at prestigious Faculty of Law at Calcutta University for inviting me to speak in the closing ceremony of CUIMC 2025. It is an accelerating experience for me to witness that the young talented students hosted such an outstanding event with minimal external support. I know that it would not have been easy to organize an event at such a large scale, and it undoubtedly requires energy, dedication, and team spirit. So all student members and participants, along with their esteemed faculty members, deserve appreciation and huge applause. Since I am given only 10 minutes to speak my thoughts, so I have pointed down some facts regarding projection and realities of alternative dispute resolutions and the way forward in India. To make my mind crisp and concise, along with organize my thought, I would like to read it out for all of you. Given the growing economic cloud of India and its vision of becoming 5 trillion economy within a couple of years, FDI is destined to play a pivotal role in seizing economic opportunities. At this juncture, efficient and expeditious dispute resolution becomes sine qua non to foster the growth of the economy. Therefore, commercial arbitrations and ISDS have an instrumental role to play in India's growth trajectory. We know that there is a direct correlation between rule of law and confidence of investors. The very first line of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's poem that says, "Where the mind is without fear," connotes the rule of law to be prevailed in independent India in his poetic style. Since many of us are from West Bengal, so we must have heard the story of Jagat Seth, who was a wealthy Marwari businessman who also financed the Battle of Plassey for Britons and eventually went bankrupt because Britons declined to repay his loan, alleging forged documents. However, that was not the case, and you all can get references of this story in books like India Unbound, written by Gurcharan Das Saab, and Sasi Tharoor's India from Midnight to Millennium and Beyond, and even many other books as well. So what happened at that time during British Raj? That the adversarial system got prominence over the indigenous mediation methods, especially among traders community. But since we are celebrating Amrit Kal, I request young students and the very creative and talented ones from all of you to explore the indigenous methods propounded by scholars like Parini, Kautilya, and the recent one like Basudev Saran Agarwal. Recently, I was reading Sanjeev Sanyal's book, namely Indian Renaissance, in which he underlined a fact that in 1960s, the size of the economic cloud was almost same for Kolkata and Mumbai. But there is a huge difference right now, and we all know the reasons behind it. If we read between the lines that the West Bengal's per capita income in 1960s was 127.5%, and it was much above the national average, and which reduced right now in 2022-2023 to merely 83.4%. Again, the size of GDP of West Bengal was the third largest one during 1960s, and right now it is declined down to sixth position in Indian states ranking. So it is a time for introspection that how ADR mechanisms could help in reviving the economic cloud and again reviving the glory of Kolkata. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I have made my points, and since I was allotted only 10 minutes, so I prepared accordingly. If you will be allowing me extra time, that definitely I have many thoughts to share with you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your experience and for sharing this with us. Sir, since we have a paucity of time, so we would like to call upon our next partner. But sir, definitely, we would love to hear it. Now, I would like to introduce our associate sponsor, KD Lex Chambers LLP, which has carved a niche in the Indian legal landscape since 2018, establishing itself as a leading hub for conflict resolution in Delhi NCR. It offers a broad range of mediation and arbitration services, seamlessly integrating exceptional client service with cutting-edge technology. Besides, it is the only ADR institute in India to have successfully trained over 150 internationally accredited mediators, mediation advocates, arbitrators, negotiators, and online dispute resolution specialists. ADLEX Chambers is dedicated to shaping the future of ADR in legal practice in India, making it an exciting place for future law professionals to learn and grow. I would now like to call upon Karandeep sir to address the participants.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, I saw the thumbs up. Thanks. So, first of all, I'm honored to be invited as for the closing ceremony. And unfortunately, I was not able to observe the competition itself because of some professional complications. But regardless, I'd like to give some points from my end, from the realistic experience I've had when it comes to mediation and arbitration. So these competitions, they do empower you and they do equip you with, I would say, a set of abilities to act as a mediator and as a counsel as well. But when you go into the realistic setting, you would find out that parties are usually not that compatible with each other because if they were, they wouldn't be having a dispute in the first place. So what you really have to keep in mind as a mediator is that you have to be empathetic to both parties, but at the same time, you have to appear neutral. Because if you appear empathetic to one party, the other party would feel endangered as to why is this mediator why is he biased towards one party. So you have to formulate your questions, your statements, and your process of mediation in such a way that both parties feel confident in you, as well as they feel that you're being neutral. This is one, I would say, ability of a mediator which would only come through real life experiences, right? Because as much as like I've been through multiple competitions myself during my college years, I was also part of the 2019 Singapore Mediation Convention for sign. So from all those experiences, what I can gather is while all these competitions enable you and give you the abilities, real life experiences are what would really be a betting stone for your abilities and your capabilities as a mediator. Right. Other than that, you would have to maintain, like, end of the day, confidentiality is what's the cornerstone of mediation. That's why corporates come to mediation itself. Right. So in taking that into consideration, I would say with the Mediation Act of last year, which came into enforce last year, we have a lot of scope in India now. We are awaiting the formulation of the MCI, the Mediation Community of India, as per the Act. But the scope of mediation in India has expanded tremendously now. And I can actually attest to that since I've been practicing since 2021 as a mediator and as an advocate. Because when I just graduated from a law school, I had this idea that, okay, India has a scope, but because we didn't have a proper act for mediation, we were somewhat at the back foot. Now, due to the act coming into force, I would say that at least in India, the scope of mediation is going towards or is aiming towards how it is in Singapore. Because Singapore is one of the main hubs of mediation in the world, as well as London. Right. So I think India aiming to reach the level of Singapore is something we all should be lucky for, because that gives us all the opportunities now. And well, if I was part of the competition, I would have given each and every mediator some specific remarks and reviews. Unfortunately, I was not. So that brings an end to my whole speech, and all the best to your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Sandeep sir. Now, I would like to call upon Claude Amar sir, the Managing Partner of Mediation and Resolution, to share his thoughts and announce the winners.
All in one?
No, sir, you can just start with your thoughts and then we'll share the slide and we'll let you know when to announce the winners. Do that.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone. The only regret I have is that this is on a video conference and not taking place in Calcutta, which is a city that I love. I was asked to give you a small brief about my mediator's journey, which is a promenade somewhere between wisdom and release. Each time I enter that room, I bring only three things: a space for truth, an ear for the unspoken, and faith that somewhere in the tangle of human conflict, a path forwards waits to be discovered. And when I depart, my hands are empty. No trophies, no solutions claimed as my own, no pieces of the discord I've just witnessed unwinding. We witness everything. We possess nothing. This is our paradox as mediators. Many believe we secretly guide outcomes, that we nudge conversations toward harmony like shadow architects. The truth is far simpler. We don't design the resolution. We merely clear the ground where it might take root. However deeply we immerse ourselves in the layers of a dispute, the breakthrough never belongs to us. It belongs solely to those living within the conflict. We're simply guardians of a sacred space, standing at the intersection where raw emotions meet reason, where past grievances meet future possibilities. But I must ask, what becomes of us when we carry too much of what was never ours to keep? When yesterday's unfinished stories follow us home, their questions linger in our quiet moments. To release is not to abandon. It's profound faith. Faith in the process we have nurtured, in the people we have guided, in the invisible shifts that continue long after our role has ended. We illuminate pathways rather than dictate destinations. Some conflicts resolve before our eyes, others transform gradually, flourishing in ways we may never witness. I confess, there are evenings when conversations replay in my mind. Could I have created a safer space for vulnerability? Did I recognize that moment when understanding first flickered between them? Was there an opening I failed to honor? Then I remember my place, not as the creator of these narratives, but as their faithful witness, ensuring each voice finds its fullest expression. I've come to understand that perfect closure is not guaranteed. Sometime we must find our own peace in the uncertainty, trusting that what we've helped nurture will eventually bloom, even if we're not present to see its flowering. We witness everything, we possess nothing. And therein lies both our challenge and our gift as mediators. This is the gentle art of letting go. Thank you. Now I have the very difficult task to announce the winner and the winners and the runners-up. If I announce the runners-up first, then the winners know they're the winners. If I announce the winners first, the runners-up know they're the runners-up. So I really don't know what to do.
So, sir, we'll start with the preliminary round prizes first and then go to the winners. We'll make them wait.
So let's start with the mediators. I'll give you a clue. I was a judge in the semi-final at the Sri Lanka competition yesterday. So the runners-up is DSNLU Nashiket Bade Atul, which means that the winner is Fatima Uzma Khan from Sri Lanka Law College. But both of them were very, very good. So that's for the mediators. Now, the negotiators. National University of Singapore won in Goa in January, won in Paris in February. Now let's see. The runners-up is Newcastle University, Tasha and Natalie. Congratulations to both of them. And you guess the winner is not Singapore National University, but Singapore Management University, which I visited 2 weeks ago with Jonathan and Shruti. And Shruti, I've hired her as my co-mediator. Congratulations. Congratulations to the 6 of you. You've done a fantastic job. We are 49 people on the screen now. Only 5 or 6 were listening to the feedback, but I can tell you, all the judges were seduced and enthusiastic about the 4 negotiators and the 2 mediators. Congratulations, congratulations to the organizing committee. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. Prachi ma'am, I would now like to call upon you to announce the preliminary round winners.
Thank you, Astha. Congratulations first to the winning teams. For the preliminary rounds, the mediator prelim prizes, the best opening statement goes to TC40, that is Siddharth Yadav from Lloyd School of Law. The best relationship building goes to TC10, that's Shrey Doshi Viral from GLC Mumbai. And best time management goes to TC32, that is Sushant Mishra, Nalsar. For the negotiating team prelim prizes, best opening statement goes to TC22, Natalie D. Brossian and Tasha Singh from Newcastle University, UK. Best teamwork goes to TC9, that's Nivedita Deepu Maria and Tushara Iyer from NUALS. The best creative solution goes to TC19, LEC Brown and Alice Brickell, Newcastle University, UK. Congratulations to all of you. Fantastic job. And sincere congratulations to the organizers and whoever drafted all the problems. Fantastic problems as well.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you so much, Claude, sir. So before we end this meeting, I just wanted to put a shout out to the organizing committee. These people have worked very hard, all our volunteers, all our core committee members, all of them have made it very seamless and extremely enriching. So as we close this chapter, let us carry forward the lessons we have learned here. And I hope all of you have learned something from the assessors. All of you have gained some sort of valuable feedback. And if you want to reach out to any assessors, please drop us a text. We'll be happy to share their LinkedIn or Gmail accounts. And with that, we look forward to hosting you again in the next edition and hopefully offline.
Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a very good day.
Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations to all.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.